very much for joining us. Shoko Sasayama, welcome to JALT 2025. My name is Gabriela Schmidt, and I'm one of the conference chairs, and we welcome you to JALT 2025. So, my first question would be, maybe you can introduce you shortly and then talk about your recent professional life. You are working here in Tokyo at Waseda University.
Okay, sounds good. So thank you very much for having me. It's my honor to be here. And so I'll introduce myself.
Mm?
My name is Dr. Shoko Sasayama. I'm originally from Kyoto. I was born and grew up in Japan, but I moved quite a bit. So the past 20 years or so, I've gone back and forth between the US and Japan.
Mm.
I did my MA in Japan, and I always knew that I wanted to pursue my PhD degree. But given my interest in second language acquisition and language education, I thought it would be a good idea to see how things are done in the real world. So after I finished my MA in Tokyo, in Japan, I went on to teach English as a part-time English teacher at two high schools. So there, that experience actually was very important for me, and it was quite foundational to my career as a language educator.
Mm.
Um, I learned a lot of important things back then, but one of the things I learned was obviously the classroom is not the tightly controlled research lab.
Mm.
So all the important theories, all the wonderful theories, they couldn't just put into practice, right? So they have to be cooked, if you will, to
Mm.
meet the needs of the students, the teacher, the program, and so on and so forth.
You taught at high school too, so yeah.
Right, right, yeah.
You
So
have experience throughout all secondary and tertiary education.
right, yes, yes. So high school, right. And I also actually did a volunteer teaching at elementary school.
Oh,
And I've taught English at university level
mm,
as well. Yeah. And so back to my sort of story. So I did since then, so I've engaged in foundational research, obviously, but I've always liked to think about how theory can be, translated into practice.
mm,
And then I went to the US to do my PhD. And after I finished my PhD in linguistics at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., I came back to Japan.
mm.
I was a Fulbright scholar, so we had a 2-year home country rule.
Wow.
So I came back to Japan and taught at the University of Tokyo for
Oh,
several years.
okay.
And then I went back to the US to join ETS as a research scientist. So
Wow.
there I was, doing research related to second language acquisition, task-based language teaching,
Mm,
which
mm,
is my main area of interest,
mm,
and also assessments. I was involved in the design of new language assessments there as well.
mm,
And now I'm here. So I'm back in Japan. It's my fourth year at Waseda.
mm.
Here, I teach applied linguistics courses to both graduate, undergraduate, and graduate students,
Mm.
and I also manage a college-wide language program or English language
Wow.
program.
Yeah, you seem to be very busy, like going for back and forth and then being
Right.
involved in various projects and programs.
Yeah.
So thank you very,
So,
very much for making time for our conference.
no
Mm,
problem. My pleasure. Thank you.
mm.
That's probably enough about me in terms
Mm.
of self-introduction.
Yes.
So should I
Very,
go
really
on to?
expressive, impressive because you really have, you said like primary, secondary, university and research from different angles to point out like task-based as one of the core concepts for bringing into classroom or maybe bringing
Right,
research into classroom back and
right,
forth.
right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So may I ask, did you about the conference theme? So this like, yeah, did you like languages, like the point, like it's not only
Mhm.
on English, but other languages
Right,
too, and then like yeah, learning, teaching, assessing. How do
right,
you
right.
read this?
Right. So those are the two things that stood out to me the most when I, saw the conference theme. And I really appreciate the focus on sort of multilingualism. And also, language teaching isn't just about English language teaching. Obviously, English is useful. But like when we think about, tourists that come to Japan, they seem to communicate, in English. but obviously they come from non-English speaking countries. So even in Japan, we have to be able to speak multiple languages if we really want to communicate with others, in a new language. So I really appreciate that, the fact that the word language has S at the end. And also, like you mentioned, I think it's really important to think about the whole ecosystem when it comes to language education. So it's not just about teaching. We're teachers, but it's not just about teaching. We have to think about learning, how do students react to the kinds of tasks that we create, and what kind of learning opportunities would the task offer to the students? And also we have to think about assessment as well, right? So how do we use assessment to sort of see how much progress our students have made, but also how can we use assessment to help students learn further? So that ecosystem, I think, focusing on that is very important.
So you see assessment not at the final steps, but one step in other steps forward, looking forward.
Right, right. So assessment can be used for multiple, can be and should be used for multiple different purposes, right? Especially in TBLT, I think we obviously use task-based assessment to see to what extent students have become able to do this important target task that they have to be able to do in the real world. But along the way, we use assessment to give students feedback. We practice, self-assessment, peer assessment, so that they can become an autonomous learner. We can't, they have to leave the classroom at some point. So it's important for them to learn how to assess themselves and improve their language abilities on their own.
Yeah, so self-assessment, peer assessment resonates very much with me. So I'm
Right.
really looking forward to your talk and to your workshop. Um, Maybe you can give a small appetizer on your theme or on the conference talk and your workshop you would like to
Sure.
lay out.
So, like I said, my main research interest is task-based language teaching. And I've just recently completed a very large-scale research synthesis project with my colleagues from Spain and the US. I
Wow.
actually have the book right here. So this
Oh,
one,
wow.
the outcome of that really big endeavor.
Mm,
So, second language cognitive task complexity, a research
mm,
synthesis.
mm,
So what I want to do in my plenary is basically, so in this book, we talk a lot about task design principles.
Oh.
So take the task design principles that are based on research findings
Mm,
and think about how those, important design principles
mm,
can be actually put into practice. So that's what I
mm,
want to talk about in my plenary. So, so that they can sort of get a sense of what this book is about,
mm.
but also how research can meet practice.
Oh, that's
So
very
that's what
important
I'm
to bring
hoping
the
to.
research into practice and help practitioners to really implement it in the classroom and
Right,
make
yeah,
it
exactly.
transparent to the students so that they can really develop their skills and their language learning.
Right, right, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing this. So it
Sure.
seems to be a
So
really
that's
long-standing
plenary.
big project like Spain and US and Japan. So you have
Hmm.
really international uh, perspective in your projects.
Right, right, exactly.
Wow, yeah, very impressive. Thank you very much.
So that's plenary, and then the vocabulary, sorry, the workshop.
Mm,
So I will be focusing specifically on vocabulary learning.
uh,
But I would
mm,
say the backbone of this workshop is also going to be TBLT.
mhm,
So when we think about vocabulary learning, how do we learn vocabulary? Well, it seems like many people use a vocabulary book, right? So
mm,
on the train in Japan, we see
mm.
lots of high
Yeah,
school students
yes,
studying
yes,
their little
yes.
vocabulary book, and sometimes with
Mm,
the red sheets.
mm.
And obviously, there's nothing wrong with that. And I have this another book. I have
Wow,
to.
you're very busy.
Right. So this one is what I published with ETS and ETS Japan last year, Official
Mm,
TOEFL Vocabulary Guide. And this
mm,
book contains 2,000 most important academic English words.
mm,
Um, So, studying a vocabulary book is a good idea, but if the ultimate goal is for students to be able to use new vocabulary in communication,
Yes, yeah.
just studying, a vocabulary book on its own is not enough. So in the workshop, I'm hoping to, have the participants design a variety of tasks that we can use to help our learners become able to, be communicative using new language or new vocabulary words that they learn. So
Yeah.
that's sort of an appetizer, if you will,
Yes, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
of the workshop.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving some insights for us. So that yes, vocabulary is very much students sit there and with their cards and read the books and try to, and often they say, I have not enough vocabulary. How can I study vocabulary? And so it's very important question how to bring this into practice and then maybe really vital for the students. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm looking
thank you.
forward to being, part of this great conference.
Yeah.
I could live this possible.